Hello. Um, been looking forward to this. So tonight I'm thinking about talking hmm, um, a little bit about just my style when I'm actually in the room with people. Um, yeah, it's actually kind of tough to describe. Um, a couple of really important techniques though. Um, the first one is an acting technique that I um, I use a lot, and it's called landing it, which is just where if I have like a scene partner that I'm delivering my speech to, and we're in a relationship of some sort, could be anything. Bartender, for example, father, whatever. Um, when we're in a relationship, what I do is I make sure to land my words on them, which is just saying it to the person, saying it actually to the person, um, and and watching them to see how they react to what I'm giving them. Um, and I do that with the whole table, all at once, and it pulls people in because I'm present with them and I'm working with what they're giving me right then. Um, so that's like a crucial technique. Um, and then in terms of prep, I'm pretty minimalist in my in-person style. I have my computer, which I have a ton of stuff on, so I'll use that to manage everything and then just pop off with people um, as quickly as possible. I'm pretty low dice. I'm pretty heavy on role playing and staying in the moment, um, and letting the story evolve, because that's what's really fun. For my next game set in Chult, I'm doing a new like technique, um, where I've written out um, like a lot of text, that I want to deliver, because I want to create this really immersive experience. I want to really, 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 really bring my players' imaginations to life, And I want it to be rich, and I want them to feel like they're living in it. Um, so the way that I've done that is, yeah, just written a lot of text beforehand, so I have a ton of material to draw on, and um, I'll just give you like a sample of some of what I've written. Let me find it here. Okay. So, Solomon Sandsinger stands on the deck of the Dreamwalker, which is floating in the harbor of the large port tropical city, uh, Port Nyanzaru. It is early in the morning. The sun is just coming up over the horizon. The ship rocks and creaks in the gentle surf. The rest of the crew is still asleep. Solomon gazes out on the horizon. He is watching Akaka fly away, out and over the sea. Akaka's words replay in Solomon's mind. The armies of Baldur's Gate are on the move. At least 2,000 men marching through the jungle, headed towards the port. War is coming. Slowly, Akaka passes away into the distance. Solomon clears his head, composes himself, and goes to get his things ready. So, it's really detailed for a DM to do something like this, and I get the feeling it's going to work. Um, I've written more detail as they go through this port city. Um, for example, when you pass beyond the harbor, the smell of fish assaults your nostrils. You turn a corner and find you are walking through a crowded fish market. The market is an explosion of color. The buildings all around you are painted in bright shades of blue, green, orange, salmon pink, and their walls are adorned with murals portraying giant reptiles and mythical heroes in gleaming armor. Every building sports baskets and clay urns of colorful flowers or is draped in leafy, flowering vines. People are all around you, negotiating for fish, catching up, laughing, screaming, sweating, chopping, dancing, and many other things. Just beyond the market, a huge set of marble stairs leads up to the top of an inner wall. So, it's a ton of detail, and when we're in the moment with it, when I'm in the moment and when everyone's got their motivations locked in and they know what they're doing and the stakes feel high, the details are going to come across as just more and more for us to work with, for the scenes to emerge. And I'm trying this thing for like I haven't quite figured it out. What I want to do is be able to hand the narration over to my players in a way, and that's very tricky. That's very tricky to do because what I really want to do is I want to give them the ability to use their common sense to create in the scene just like I am. So like to not make me the sole bearer of what is actually in this world, and to give them space to invent things in it. Um, so yeah, I have a game. I use an improv book that I care about very much, called Improvisation for the Theater with Viola Spolin. And there's a game in it called Verbalizing Where, aka, oh no, it's just called Verbalizing Where. And where, um, well, I guess I can do this exercise with you. So, how do you know where you are? How do you know? You're sitting in your room, maybe, and you look around. How do you know where you are? What's going on? What what's around you? Um, and look for the specifics. Okay, so I know where I am. I know where I am because of what's around me, because of what's in my. This is my room, right? I've got a desk in here. Okay, so I've got a desk. How do I know that it's not my office? You know, my office has a desk. Um, okay, well, good point. My bed is in here. My bed is not in my office. So, okay, how else do I know that this is my room? There's a desk and there's a bed. My roommate's room has got a desk and a bed. Well, there's stuff that belongs to me. There's meaningful stuff. I've got some meditation balls here. I've got my scene right here. I've got notes with my handwriting on it right here. Um, I've got speakers that used to belong to my old roommate. These things are mine, and these are the objects that are present in where I am uh, right now. So, like, where is so crucial to playing this game and having a good imagination for where. Or like an intuition for where, and trusting that intuition. So, you know, when I'm describing like the fish market, or I'm describing the deck of the ship, the more that my players can see the where, the more that they're going to be able to create in our world, the more that they're going to be able to act in our world, um, and the more that's going to inspire me. Um, because my goal, I have so many goals when I play. My goals are to keep them alive, to challenge them, to advance their stories, to push them, to provide narrative motivation, to intrigue them, to dazzle them, um, to like, I don't know, light a fire, to create with them, to inspire them, to make them big. So, um, I forget why I said that. Anyway, so the way that verbalizing where works is players go through the scene verbally, describing their actions in the where and their relation to other players. So players narrate for themselves. Um, so this is kind of it's from this Viola Spolin's book, and it's exactly how one plays Dungeons and Dragons. So it's amazing to me that there's overlap between this improv book from the 1930s and this board game from the 1970s. That there's like this core something, this core way of playing, which is really just you're not moving, you're just sitting there and you're describing your actions and what you see and what you're interacting with, you know? Like I wake up and like I don't know what to do, so I rub my face and then I think, oh man, I've got an assignment to do for class. So I grab my pencil and I start writing, "Dear Mrs. Marmalade." Um, and that's the beginning of a scene right there, and that's enough. That's enough, and I can keep on going, and then other people will pick up, and it's gonna generate like it's just gonna generate actions. Um, and that's the core of it. It's got to be actions. There's got to be stuff that people are doing, you know. And then the other rules are just the player can only narrate for themselves. They can't narrate for the other players. And then if dialogue happens, all they have to do is break their narration of what they're doing and talk to the other player, like have dialogue about it, and then they can jump right back into their narration. Um, so the focus being on verbalizing every involvement, which is I'm writing, a manifesto about my love of Cheetos, and I'm gonna keep on writing it until my mom comes home because she thinks that I'm supposed to be doing homework. Or my observation, uh, like the page is very crisp. I love working with, well, yeah, so the page being very crisp would be an observation, or a relation, which would be like, I'm so excited to write this. I love writing on a crisp page. Uh, Cheetos are very important to me, so that's like an emotional thing. Um, it also exists in between people. Like, my mom drives me crazy. Why doesn't she understand why I love Cheetos? Um, so, so this is kind of a nuanced game, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna introduce it to my players, and I'm excited about it. Um, I mean, one of the big things as a dungeon master is that like just show by doing. Just show by doing. I know what I want to do. I know how it works. I know how to play it. So I'm going to act a certain way, and my players are smart, and they're talented, and they're going to pick up on what the fuck is going on, and it's just going to be smooth sailing. Um, so that That is a lot of what I'm hoping to do next session and see what happens, because one of the big things that I do that I've learned from various dungeon masters is to set up a problem. Give them a big problem and know all the moving parts and do not have a solution prepared. Don't. Don't have a solution. Let them figure it out. Maybe have some ideas like, oh, they could do this or do this. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who knows? Let them solve the problem and be surprised and be open to being surprised and be in the moment with them and involved in the give and take. And that's what's exciting about it. I mean, it's fun to talk about D&D. It's way more fun to play it. Because it comes alive and I don't know what's going to happen, and I get to see their reactions in real time and watch my friends' faces light up or fall or um, be interested and take on the challenges that I'm putting in front of them. And I love challenging them, and I love creating these big epic stories. I also love finding music. I've been listening to Dragon Force lately, which I was really into in high school. It turns out I'm still into it. And it's like just this driving music, and it just gets my imagination like sparked. So, yeah, that's great. All right, so that's probably all I have time for right now. I've got to go. I've got a graveyard shift to go to. Don't want to do that. 100% calling out halfway through today. I've gotten like 2 hours of sleep today. Sleep during the day. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. It's not workable. So I'm gonna sleep on the BART, and yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.